Hi everyone, it's good to see you. I'm here to talk about soap. This soap. This is my cucumber lime, which I call Cuca Lime. I've made this soap. I had to go back and look. I save calendars, wall calendars. I don't know if any of you do that too, but before computers, before smartphones, there were notebooks that you would write on. There were calendars, and I have calendars that I've been saving since I was a teenager. Every year, buy a new wall calendar, and I would save the old one because I would write notes on it. Doctor's appointments, vet appointments for the animals, a big livestock sale coming up, those sort of things. And I can always go back and look at those old calendars, which you can do on your phones now if you've put all that stuff there. But I'm getting older, and one of the things that I have found is that writing things down helps me to retain things longer. Anyway, where was I going with that? This bar soap. This is my 25th year making this bar of soap. The cucumber lime soap. The first time I made it, my mother actually made a cucumber soap for me as a child. I was so sensitive to everything, and since my grandmother was a soap maker and my mother was a soap maker, my mother found that cucumber worked really well on my skin because it added bubble, but she didn't have to add any coconut oil or other things in there that could irritate my young, tender skin. Now I've got old, tender skin, but nonetheless, this is still one of my favorite soaps to make. And this one is made with cucumber oil and expressed lime oil, which means that the lime skins have been pressed out and the oil derived from that. There are no chemical processes used in this. I don't believe there's such thing as a natural soap. I know a lot of people claim they make a natural soap, but natural? What's natural about it? We're involved in putting it together and making it, so it's not really natural. Natural would mean it fell out of a tree, like soap berries. Now those are a natural soap. They have natural saponins in them, so they make suds, right? But these are man-made. All soap pretty much is man-made. Now, you could say that your soap is made with all natural ingredients, which they mostly are, but any of us that are using sodium hydroxide, otherwise known as lye, we don't use a naturally occurring lye, we're using a chemical processed lye. So we have to be careful when using the word lye. Why am I holding this bar of soap up? I don't know. I guess I don't need to now. But I thought I'd bring you along. I know I haven't done a video in a little bit of time. Matter of fact, the video I'm about to show you was made many weeks ago, and this soap is actually going to be in my shop by the time you see this video, but nonetheless, I still wanted to share it with you. I've been busy, yes, but I talked about this some in my last video. I went through a depressive period of time, and I didn't feel like being on camera. I'm just being as honest with you as I can be. I try to be a happy-go-lucky person. I try to be as positive as I can be. And sometimes with politics and with worldly occurrences, wars and talk of wars and all those things, it can be a little difficult to put on a smile. And I know that some of you probably feel the same way. But I want you to remember one thing. We will survive. We will go on. We will persist. No matter what your political leanings are, no matter what your religious beliefs are, no matter what your race, no matter whether you're fat or skinny or bald or fuzzy-headed or anything else. We're all going to get through this, but we're only going to get through this if we do it together. There's an old expression that no man's an island. And oftentimes I kind of poo-pooed that expression because I always thought of myself as a loner and as someone who could just do it on my own, and I didn't need anyone else's help, and I didn't need anyone else to help guide me. And I think a lot of that's because I didn't have very good guides as a child. And so I kind of thought I am my own best guide. There's an old expression that a doctor's worst patient is themselves. And the same can be true of people who give advice. I've been told I give really good advice to other people, but I do have a little bit of trouble taking advice from others, and I do have a little bit of difficulty taking my own advice. And I'm getting better at that, but I have some damage in here, psychological. It's not major, it doesn't affect me, my ability to make and sell products, so I don't want to scare anybody. But sometimes I get to feeling really, really down, and during those periods of time, I have to do a lot of self-care. And for me, that means going internal, but that doesn't always work, which is why I'm here talking to you now, because I know it's also important to share and to not keep to oneself too much, because I bore myself like I'm probably boring some of you right now. And I'm really sorry that I'm being so gabby. I just haven't had the opportunity to gab for a while. But come along with me, let's put this soap together. And I'm gonna actually, because when I recorded this soap, I didn't do a voiceover because I was depressed. I didn't do narration. So I'm going to be voicing over this video. You won't hear any sounds, you'll just hear me chatting because I'm recording over the video. But come on along. I will tell you what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, maybe give you some tips on if this is something you want to do, some ideas you can use in your own recipes. All right, so thank you. Thank you for listening to me. If you listened, if you skipped through it, I highly respect that. But if you hear me saying that, then you didn't skip through it and you stayed here for it, and I highly respect that too. Okay, so let's go make some soap. Come on. Today I'm putting together my Cuca Lime soap, an all-time favorite of mine and my mother's. My mother made this for me as a child, and I learned how to make it very early. In fact, I've been making this soap myself this is about 25 years I've been putting this same soap together. It's been a favorite here locally in my community, and one that I generally sell out of pretty quick. And I think because it's a very gentle soap, but it also has something that I think is its most redeeming feature, is that the cucumber juice that I'm juicing here adds such a beautiful bubble and lather to the soap without the need for coconut oil. Nothing wrong with coconut oil. It adds a lot of wonderful features to bar soap and to liquid soap for that matter. And I love it. But a lot of people have allergies to it, and as a child, I did. These limes were grown in South Texas along the Rio Grande. That's why they're not very large and they're not very pretty limes, but the juice that they have is sublime and smells delicious. These are my cucumbers grown here on the farm organically, and I just love making this soap. It smells so good while putting it together. Just this aspect, just the juicing alone, puts me in a marvelous state of mind. And as I mentioned earlier in the preface to this part of the video, I haven't been all that cheery lately, so making a soap like this helps to put me in a good mood. It really does. Making soap is always something that I enjoy. Now, I made this one about 6 weeks ago. I'm sorry that I'm so late getting the video put together, but it's been a rather hectic week. Or a few weeks, I should say. But things are going much better. They really are. This soap has a lot of wonderful butters and oils in it, and I'll put those on the screen for you. In addition, I will be scenting this with an expressed lime oil, and I will show you that bottle here in a moment before I add it. This is the lime expressed oil, which means it's pressed from the lime peels. There are no chemicals used in that process. That's very important to me and to my customers. I have a lot of customers that have very sensitive skin and have conditions like eczema and psoriasis and things. So a lot of things that are used in soaps, they're very sensitive to. These are my Winston and Walter Whitney molds. I've got actually, I think 5 of these. I'm using 3 here. This makes about 25 pounds of soap. What I like about these molds is when I cut these using my 1 1/4 inch soap cutter, I get heavier bars than I do when I cut them from my slab mold, and that's because these are just slightly wider than when I cut my loaves from my slab mold. So I have to take that in consideration when doing my recipe. This is the same amount of soap that goes in that slab, but this makes fewer bars but bigger bars. So these will actually weigh, I've already weighed them, between 6 ounces and 7 ounces. Some of them they're generally about 6.9 ounces, but I have a few of the end cuts here that are over 7 ounces. So these are nice big bars, and that lime essential oil is really just divine in these. I just love it. And I want you all to know that I really appreciate all of you that comment on the videos and say such nice things. And I may seem like I am being dismissive because I don't respond to a lot of those, sometimes none of them in a video. And I promise you, it's only because during those times maybe I am just crazy busy. I have a lot of wholesale orders that I'm doing now, and I've had a lot of things going on, as I talked about in the preface to this video. And so making comments on videos and things just isn't something that I've taken the time to do. It's not because I don't care, and I realize it can come across that way sometimes, but I promise you, I care. Matter of fact, I care so much that I oftentimes don't want to do a video because I don't want to come across sounding all depressed and down. And I'm not feeling that way now. I'm feeling so much better, and I realized I should probably change my soap channel to the Depressed Soaper, but I'm not that way all the time. A lot of this is because of what's going on in our country right now, and I don't get political on this channel. I think it's just foolish to take a stand on political issues. Now, I do take stands on a lot of social issues, which would lead a lot of people to maybe figure out where I stand on other issues. But what I will tell you is that it's just a stressful time, but I know it's stressful for a lot of people. I know people locally on both sides of the political spectrum who are very stressed about what's happening now and what's continuing to happen to our country and to other countries. The wars going on, the cost of living in this country, the loss of freedom to a lot of people around the planet. There are a lot of things going on, and I know it can be depressing. I know that it can be a bit heart-wrenching sometimes. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep making my videos and hopefully taking your mind off those things. It's kind of hard to take your mind off of them when Patrick's talking about them so much in this video. I get that. And I only wanted to address this in this particular video because at the time I am talking over this video, it's the day before Independence Day. And I would like to free us all from the daily stresses of what's going on in the world. And one way to do that is by doing happy, cheery videos and hopefully, if nothing else, giving you a distraction for a few minutes. So I'm going to try to do more videos more often. I used to do it quite often. I wasn't as busy then, which is crazy because I was working a full-time job and doing soaping. But actually, since I have started doing such a remarkably busy business, it has changed a lot of the time I have. I've certainly reduced a lot of that. The work that I've been doing, because I had to work a lot in stuff you don't want to see, but that was work in the slaughterhouse here locally with the bison and cattle as well. Not something anybody wants to see. It's very unattractive. But also the work that I do here on the farm. I don't shear my own sheep. I have someone that comes in and do that. And that's something I need to try to get filmed too. I think that would be something that may be of interest to some people. But again, it's about finding the time. It seems like every time something happens where I think, oh, I should have grabbed the camera, it's too late, I've got other things going on. Because I do use a camera. I don't use my phone for most of the filming. I use my big heavy Canon camera, and so it's a little more difficult. I could take my phone on some of these things and film that way too, but it's an editing nightmare for me to do filming from various different sources. But anyway, I want to thank you all. I know this has not been an exciting video because all these soaps look the same pretty much, but thank you for coming along with me. I love you. I wish you nothing but happiness, and I look forward to seeing you back soon. Goodbye.